We're back. Oh, so good to be back. How are you doing? It's Chris Courtney here. It's the pre-show. The live stream has not kicked in yet. Has not announced every. Oh, we've got somebody. Hey. Sure. Examples are best, but yes. Okay. Sorry. New student just checked in. Always love kind of getting it. You can get a sense of how somebody's going to do in this course by how they approach the first few exercises. And I think Abby's going to do just fine. Chris Courtney here, new Pragmatic, and I wanted to take a minute while the pre-show is kind of ramping up. I was talking with Charlie yesterday, and he had a question related to linking his portfolio onto LinkedIn, oddly enough. And he was having trouble with information showing up. So I wanted to take some time this morning to kind of walk you through one little thing that you could do to your portfolio, or really any. You can add this to any part of your portfolio site. But this is the one little thing that you can do that will positively impact your ability to share your work. So I want to go ahead and share my screen really fast. And let's take a look. Here. Okay, so we're over here on LinkedIn, right? And there's this featured section. And I was talking with Charlie. I was like, listen, what we need to do right now is, and we can go look at Charlie's work, but we'll do this. Charlie, here's Charlie's homepage, right? All right. So, and oddly enough, this gives me an opportunity to see if Charlie had a chance to update his link yet. Because if he did, that'll be great. And hasn't been updated yet. Okay, so that's okay. I mean, he's got his information in there, but the problem here is that there's no image. All right. Now, to fix that, you have to put some Open Graph data into the head tag of your portfolio. And the syntax that you'll need is actually provided by LinkedIn. These are called meta property tags, and they're OG title, OG image, OG description, and OG URL. Now, what I will say is that depending on what you have posted, like I was doing some inspection on my site, and I have some of this created because I'm using Gatsby. Gatsby plugs a lot of this in, but it didn't plug all of it in. And to give you an idea of what these links do and what information they pull over, because it's helpful to kind of see how the internet pipes information into different places. I'm going to quickly grab my URL for New Pragmatic, and instead of putting Charlie here, we're going to close that one, discard. We're going to add this, add a link, I'm going to paste it, and you can see there's a title here, Redesign Your Future, and then there is this upside down head. Why the upside down head? And I was kind of curious about this as well, to be completely honest with you, because I thought that this tag issue would have been taken care of. And in fact, when I come over here, what I discover is, well, the upside down head is being pulled from right here. And it's just, this is, LinkedIn said, oh, you've got some Open Graph data. That's great. Do you have any images on your page? And I do. This happens to be an image that is not a background image, so it shows up very clearly in the tree structure of the page. So it grabs that, and that's why that image is showing up where it is. It didn't grab this because this is a background image, and the background image is like kind of embedded into the CSS, and the link structure is not going to see that as a possible thing it can grab, and that's why it grabbed that. But if we look at the code here, you inspect the element, and we're really just going right up here to the head tag, you'll see that we have these meta properties right here. You can drag these around, but it won't make any difference. So Gatsby gives me title, description, type. There isn't a URL. I mean, there isn't an image posted here, and I've got Twitter links and whatnot. So this will post to Twitter very easily. But there's not a image that's included here, and that's why LinkedIn is grabbing my upside down head. So if I wanted to fix that to post something else in this position, I would need to, you guessed it, add this tag, meta property OG image content equals, and then the URL to whatever image that I would like to show up there. So I show you that this morning because there really isn't any magic to it. A lot of people have had questions. Charlie had a question yesterday, and that's why I brought it up. But people have asked in the past, hey, when I share this link, why is the information showing up that's showing up? I don't understand why it's saying this or showing that random image. I don't get it. And it is these meta properties that are either filled out or not filled out. And sometimes they'll show nothing. Like nothing will show up. And you're like, well, that seems broken. Well, it's because there's no meta properties. Sometimes you'll get things to show up, but it's not quite what you were expecting. And oftentimes that's because you have some meta properties filled out, but not all. And that's the case with my site. I don't, for whatever reason, have a image set up for the homepage. So I've got to go fix that. And the thing that I want you to realize is that if you're missing something, lots of sites are missing stuff. Okay? Mine included. So I know in doing this exercise with Charlie, I discovered something that I've got to go fix. It happens. Especially if you're doing these things solo. But meta properties are important. I want to take a second to talk about those because they do impact your ability to share your work. And if you're hunting for a job, being able to post your work onto a site like LinkedIn is important. All right? So I'm going to discard that change. And I'm going to go and fix that OG image content property after I'm done with this call. And looks like we've got some people here, and it looks like CouchBot has fired. So this would be a great time to get started. Let's close that one. Let's close that one. Close that one. Close that one. Close that one. We got Rebecca. We got Luigi. I'm going to go grab Katie real fast. Where is Discord? Oh, here it is. All right. So we've got Katie. Okay. All right. So, and I'll switch my accounts really fast so it pulls it up in something that I can comment with. All right. I'll switch back now to OBS and we can get this started. Now we're back. All right. All that stuff I just talked about, I hope that you enjoy it. I'll make sure to link to it in a separate video, but we are off and running now. Greetings one and all, Chris Courtney here, new Pragmatic. It's time for the feedback loop. So great to have you along for this wrap-up edition for the week. We've got a medley. It's almost like every time I talk to you, there's a medley of designers that are in the mix. Today, it's a whole new group. Rebecca, Luigi, and Abby are here. And just want to make sure I got that right. Yeah, that's my trio. The triad, the trifecta, the perfect triangle, if you will. Anyway, we've got a lot of stuff to look at, so why don't we go ahead and get it started? I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. And if Figma would, yeah, there it is. Hey. And we want this over here as well. All right, so we're going to start in Figma, and we're actually going to start with we'll go Luigi, Rebecca, and then we'll take a look at Katie. All right. So Luigi is here in the middle of prototype land. He's really kicking out a lot of information now, and he's been focused on this cart screen. And Luigi, the good news here is, like, when this goes to mobile, I know exactly what's going to happen. Like, you've basically gotten the mobile rail. Like, when this collapses down, like, we know exactly what's going to happen. But you've got your cart, goes to checkout, that the map takes over. Kind of you clearly are picking delivery for at least this part of the path. The address is entered, and that produces a drop down. That zooms in, and you can confirm the address that you selected, and then you're going to add a delivery time, ASAP or later. You can change the time you've chosen later, and it gives you a drop down, which is correct. So you're now selecting, and basically what Luigi's doing is step by step as you go through the portfolio, or not the portfolio, the prototype. He's going to have these interactions available, which means that he needs a frame for that thing. There are certain areas, like I think that if you decided that you wanted to select different times, like this could be pickup or delivery, and you could have it go into a modal for that hover state, and then it could go down. That would be fine. Down here, you actually could have one unit over to the side and have each of these available, selectable, and then it would again fire off next. But the trick there, I mean, that's a lot of interaction for a very small thing. So I'm not looking for you to like get that complicated with it. This is one area that I know you added a lot of screens. Like, all of these screens are related to this checkout flow for adding payment method. My only thought here is that you should probably simplify it. Like, if I click card number and then card holder, like if I click card number, it's going to fill in, and I'll, the idea is that you want them to say, oh, and then I have to click card holder name, and then I would have it just fill the rest out, because they're going to get it. It's not like somebody who's entering payment method and they hit card number and it all fills out. They're not going to be that disjointed. I'm simply saying you could do 1, 2, and then have it fill up, just to save the prototype some time. They are the interesting thing that you have here, Luigi, is you have a dedicated funnel. Like, once they're in here, it's pretty hard for them to get lost. And you've also got this, like, hey, here's your pathway to this point in time. So at every step along the way, you've got these breadcrumbs that tell you how far down the rabbit hole you are. My only question, okay, so you got checkout. That's tab 1, tab 2, tab 3. Feels like we're on tab 3 already. This would be order time. Payment would be tab 4, and then payment. We're still on payment, but we can shrink that up. Place order. Okay, so place order goes away. So I think you need one more tab up here for this process. I don't think it's actually a 3-step process. I think it's 4, based on what you're showing here. And you could say, oh, well, checkout is kind of its own thing. Yeah, but we begin the tabs up here. Up here. So you click checkout. You're already on the first tab, and that's the order type. Yeah. Okay. So it's 3. It's 3. It's just that checkout and order type, like, it's almost like checkout doesn't need to be there because it goes from cart to order type. Checkout would bring you right back here. So that's the key. Like menu, cart. Is this like, do I need, okay, so here's a question. Do I need the breadcrumbs past checkout? Because checkout, like, I'm at the beginning of the phase and I have, like, these are really breadcrumbs as well. Yeah, the math lines up when we started order type 1 2 3, but if I go back to, if I click checkout, where does that take me? It takes me here. So if I click order type, where does it take me? It takes me here. So one of these two are duplicates. You pick. And actually, if you just fix that spot, then the tabs are fixed. So you don't have to add a fourth. But one of those two is duplicated. You got your payment method, and we get down here, and we're in place order, and I know this is in progress. It's really interesting at this point how long this chain of breadcrumbs is, and the fact that you have all of the options to change right here, which basically represents each of these breadcrumbs. There's 4 of them here, and actually, like, you could change the order. That's the cart. Change payment details. That's over here. Delivery time. That's here. Delivery address. Well, that's order type. It's interesting. What I'm saying here is you have all of the, everything here is now replicated here. I'll undo that because I don't want to move your thing. So I don't necessarily know if you need these breadcrumbs at this point. It's either you're placing the order or cancel. Like, so I think that up here, like, maybe these go away at this point because you've now surfaced all the options at a high level. So I don't necessarily think that you need this at this stage. Okay, and obviously you don't need it here because it's the confirmation. You do want to give them like a pathway to either order more, view previous, or go to account settings. Like you need something here to help them like determine what their next step is going to be. And it looks like this is in progress too, where these order details, like these things are, as you're going through here, these things are filling out over there. Interested to see how this comes together, Luigi. But I think that rail is pretty much there. All right. If anything, I would shrink it down once you get down here, simply because you don't need each of those individual steps in the prototype. That's just going to get tedious. And then the question down here I have is, do you need the breadcrumbs anymore at this point because everything's been surfaced? All right. I think overall it's pretty strong. I think you can continue moving forward, but just for the sake of your mind when you're prototyping, for the sake of your testers when you're prototyping, I'd truncate this part of the flow a little bit. Okay. All right. Let's go to Supermelon. Now, Rebecca's got a thankless task ahead of her. She is working on language for emails. And this is UX writing, okay? UX writing is communicating with the client, well, communicating with the customer, the user. He or she's doing it on behalf of her client. And her, the client here this is a B2B business play, okay? So this is not something where you want to be too loose with the language. And I don't think that Rebecca has been too loose with the language, by the way. But she's specifically asking about the language being used on these headings. Are they professional enough? So I'm going to go through. I have not read these thoroughly. Your Supervillain email address has been changed. Reset your supervillain.com password. And this type of stuff is important because, like, think about it. When somebody resets their password, they're like waiting there with bated breath for that message to pop back up into their email so they can get into their account. The last thing you want to do is not be super clear about what's happening when that message arrives. So, reset your supervillain.com password. Okay, great. That's what I was expecting. If there was anything else in that header, it's going to be a problem. Because wait, this doesn't. I don't know if this is the thing that I'm waiting on. Okay, so you've hit that, Rebecca. Your Supervillain password has changed. Your Supervillain account has been approved. Has been approved. Has been approved. So what's the difference here? You requested a quote. Your account has been approved. Your buyer account, your manufacturer account. Okay, so these are different types of account. I almost wonder if that needs to be your Supervillain buyer account, your Supervillain manufacturer account, because these are slightly different. And here, a potential customer has just requested a quote. It sounds like your Supervillain account has received a quote request. Like I don't think, I think maybe this is not, this has just been copied over. Account verification. You received an order. Okay, so this is like telling them that you've got something that's ready to go. Your invoice has been approved. Your invoice is ready to view. I think it's your invoice has been approved. Your order has been shipped. Your request for product customization has been approved. Now, is there also your request for product customization has been received? Like, is there a perceived gap between when somebody requests that customization, and they're waiting over here, like, is the product going to be customized, and then the approval? Because I gotta guess that, like, somebody's got to, like, look at that and then determine if they're going to do it, and some of those aren't going to be automatic. So you have an opportunity here where somebody's just going to be kind of hanging in limbo. So I would, if that's not currently on the roadmap, I might mention it to your client to ask about that, because if I request it, I'm wanting to spend money, and if I'm wanting to spend money, I need communication, and this seems like a potential gap, albeit a minor one. Okay, a minor one. Let's see what's up here. These must be the old ones. Okay. I like it overall. What's in the footer? Yeah. Okay. So email preferences, terms of use, privacy policy, Supervillain security team. Okay. So that's all the accounts. Seller support. Warehouse. Buyer support. Okay. Yeah, this seems pretty close to where I think you want to be. Request quote needs to be changed. I think that you could be clearer by talking about what type of account has been approved through here. Manufacturer, buyer, and then I believe there should be like a indication that the request has been received. If you can do those things, I think you'll be in a really good spot. And I think email templates are not going to be super intensive um, experiences where a lot of creativity is going to be expelled out of your body and into the email. But I do think that, like, the sizing here is nice. You want the logo basically aligned with the type when possible. A lot of product emails, they're like in the center or they're slightly off center, and then like the headline, like product emails can be hard. So, product emails get crapped on all the time. So I'm glad to see that you're spending some time with it. But mostly it's just about getting the language right, and I think the language here is pretty close. Okay, so let's go over to Katie. That's not Katie. No, not Katie. Abby. Katie is a different student. Katie, I'm actually looking for a submission from. So why UX? Now, the question that she's referring to here is at the bottom of. I'm just wondering. Oh yeah, looking for the files. So yes, this is the wicked problem. The wicked problem is a problem that shifts around and it's hard to definitively solve because it always shifts, moves, it continues to like morph over time. So Abby identified transportation in cities and the cost of prescriptions as the two wicked problems that she's identified. So, bus never on time, multiple apps falsely predicting location and time. You can only predict so much of when a bus can come, traffic lights, bus stops. Multiple apps make estimates, but which is truly accurate? CTA could have a more accurate texting system or a better tracking app for each bus number, arrival, and departure time. Yeah, so this is, basically everybody's pulling their data from the same source, the CTA. Apple's using the CTA, Google's using the CTA. Heck, my old paper, one of the first apps that I built was a bus tracker app. Another program has an entire exercise that is a bus tracker app that was based off the work that I did in 2011. So that's like 9 years ago, guys. So yeah, this is a sticky problem. One of the real troubles with the bus tracker thing is like, and this is something we never got solved for. Was like when streets are shut down and buses are rerouted. Like, where do you indicate that so that people would know when they pull up the site? Like, oh hey, yeah, bus isn't going to come here. Now I think that's gotten better over time, but it's never quite gotten all the way there. So it's kind of an ongoing problem, and every time construction happens, it creates a new issue. Cost of prescription different each month. Manufacturers, pharmacies constantly raising, lowering prices. Yeah, that is weird. Ongoing, since never the same price. When manufacturers are in shortage, they have to raise price. Pharmacies have cost range they have to stay within, but they can change it up. Now, here's the interesting thing about that. There's also the availability of insurance and the potential exhaustion of insurance. There's also having insurance and then having things that are out of coverage, like, oh, we'll pay for the generic, but not for the real version of it or whatever. So prescriptions is definitely, and you could just throw medical in general in there. I can tell you firsthand after having a lot of dental work done this year. When you exhaust, it's funny when you spend so much money with your dentist, they suddenly go, yeah, we'll give you the rate we normally charge the insurance company, and it's like 30% of what is normally being paid, and it's like, well, wait, why can't I just get that to begin with? Why do I have to like pay the other 70% at the other times? It gives you a very clear vision into how things are changed and morph and what really could be done versus what is done. It's medical and general prescriptions, of course, a really gnarly problem to solve. Um, and I think where design could play a role there, Abby, is and I'll just come back over here because I think you've definitely hit upon like a couple of things that design could help is clarity, transparency into what's happening. Um, you know, I think people would make different buying decisions if they could see, oh, hey, my prescription is 30% less in June and January for some reason. I don't know why. It's probably because when they produce it, or maybe that's not a peak season. But if you're somebody who has to have it like year round and it doesn't go bad like immediately, why not stock up when it's cheaper, right? So I do think that there's some opportunities there to give visibility and allow people to. So much of this is about making it to where people can make a better buying decision, and you know, for things that they absolutely have to have, like I don't know, medicine. So that's a really good one, Abby. I'm glad that you brought that up, and I think it's going to be very interesting to see how you move into observational research, because what you observe, um, what we think we see is not always what we actually see when we go out in the field. And you're about to jump into some very interesting problems, because it's stuff that the entire nation and planet are trying to solve because they're COVID-19 related. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's going to do it for today's edition of the Feedback Loop. I hope that you found it beneficial. Thank you, Rebecca. Thank you, Abby. Thank you, Luigi, for submitting work today. And I look forward to seeing Eve. I look forward to seeing Katie. I look forward to seeing Chelsea and many, many others. I look forward to seeing you all back here on the Feedback Loop on Monday. All right.